What up, y'all? So basically, I had two planned guests, and they both ended up having to reschedule. So I've been thinking about trying to do this for a little while, and didn't really know how I'd feel about it. So we're just gonna wing it. Gonna try to do a little Theo Vaughn impression, if you will. If you're not familiar with Theo, he does a podcast, and every Monday he does this thing called This Past Weekend, I think it's called. And he's a comedian, so he's always doing comedy on the weekend. So he always talks about what he did this past weekend, and it's really interesting. And he's obviously pretty loopy and wild in his explanations of things. So it's a good time. You should check it out. But anyway, I digress. I just wanted to talk about a couple things I decided to talk about a couple things that are on my mind, a couple current events, stuff like that. And then I put out on the Instagram that I was going to do a solo podcast, and if anybody had any questions to reach out, hit me up. So I got a couple of those, so we'll do that and maybe share a couple stories. So. First of all, the world is in freaking chaos right now. California went from droughts to floods to mudslides to super blooms now. It's pretty wild out there. So, I believe in South Africa there was a big cyclone, which I think is just a huge hurricane, kind of deal. But it's killed a bunch of people and destroyed a ton of land, and I would imagine that they weren't necessarily prepared for that at all. So keep that in mind. Also, in the Midwest here in the U.S., there's a bunch of flooding, a bunch of frozen lakes and stuff like that, destroying homes, and that kind of leaves worry for us down here in the boot. Because that water's going to come down here and. It'll be interesting couple weeks and a couple months here in Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas. I've recently become a little more conscious about my plastic use. I bought a hydro flask. I've almost drank a gallon of water today because of that thing. But yeah, I realized that I was drinking a lot of plastic bottle or drinking water out of a bunch of plastic bottles, and it was easily fixable. And so I probably went from using 4 to 6 bottles of water every day to the past 2 days none. So I hope that I can keep finding places to refill it and keep doing that. So I'm gonna try to just do my little part, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, recently, especially since I got to this point where I was doing it by myself, I've been questioning like my work ethic and stuff like that, and I have some unfinished projects, and I keep hearing that I need to hustle, and I get that that hammered into my brain all the time by people that people that are inspiring me, and it's something that you can talk yourself into it in your head, but I'm not really doing it, and that's a problem that I need to address, and I really need to kick it into overdrive and quit just screwing around. I do have downtime. I have time that I can use to learn and to work and outside of my own job, but I'm choosing that time to relax or cook or work on myself, and I guess there's areas in my life that I can improve upon, and that's something that I'm realizing about myself. And a lot of my friends have been talking about tattoos here recently, and I want a tattoo. I just have no idea what I want, and I know that's a classic answer, but that's the truth for me. So but really thinking about getting one right there on the wrist. It says work harder. For For those of you who are aware of Casey Neistat, I've mentioned him before on this podcast, but that's where it comes from. And, it's just a right there in your face reminder to get off your butt and chase your dreams. So that may be what happens, but I don't know. I don't know that I'll go out of my way to pursue that. If it presents itself, I'll take advantage of it, but I don't know. Guess if it happens, it happens. What else? Man, I feel like I've been pushed a lot here recently. Now that I think about it, at work a lot, I've been given more responsibility and taking on more duties and more tasks and being pushed by people that I didn't think I would be pushed by, and it's interesting. It's stressful, but I'm enjoying it, growing, and just trying to get through the day. It is a grind. Let's dive into some of these questions. Get some water. Parched. Kind of forget that talking for 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes straight there kind of dry you out. All right. First question. Brendan Womack. Favorite college memory? That's a big one from the start. One that always sticks out to me is me and Hunter Hall sitting in the Sigma Nu parking lot at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, watching all of the senior actives pull the sail up for 7 Seas. It was a weird time, but it was a great time, and I don't know. It's something that always sticks out in my head. I had tons of great memories, great trips. Going to away football games and going down to McKee's camp and going. If it wasn't for college and the Sigma Nu, I guess maybe I would have found it eventually, but I'd never been snowboarding, so I'd never gone on a ski trip before. Excuse me. Never skied before or been on the mountain, so that definitely sparked a passion, and it definitely made me want to move up there, and that's probably why I moved to Denver. Part of the reason, I guess. And ZZ, tell us about your childhood. That seems like a loaded question, but I grew up in West Monroe and was to a hardworking family, and my dad started his own business and had me and my brother, who's 7 years older than me. So grew up in West Monroe, went to West Monroe High School, and was a rebel, I guess. There's a whole world of labels that go along with growing up in West Monroe, but there's a lot of cool people that came out of West Monroe, and I'm grateful that I went there and grew up there, and I'm grateful for the connections that I still have there and the people that I know there. I don't know. Anyway, Father Sean Misty, a.k.a. Killian Hicks, former guest on the podcast. That's the word I was looking for. How'd you grow such a beautiful beard? Great question, Killian. I guess I was born with it. You just sit around and wait, and it'll grow. For you guys that have trouble, I hear there's beard balms and stuff like that. I put a little beard oil on there every once in a while, comb it out, trim the edges, keep on boogieing. Oh, let's see here. Smoky River Johnson. Smoky River Johnson. What's going on, dog? Sorry. I just realized that the door's open. Smoky River Johnson, we should connect, my friend. He asks, favorite place you went to as a teen and why? Well, I didn't travel a whole lot as a teen. I guess a lot of my traveling was within the state of Louisiana, going to like soccer tournaments, stuff like that. But I think one of my favorite vacations, I went to Colorado with my brother in the summer one time, and we went mountain biking for a week with my great uncle and great aunt. We stayed with them, and that was a wonderful time that definitely had a lasting impact on me. I guess that's really what, now that I'm talking it out, that's really what started the whole Colorado love. But we went to Gatlinburg, I remember, as a family, and I always remember enjoying that because we were like up in the Smoky Mountains, and it was super foggy and weird, and there was bears running around and green. It was just like really green and pretty and mountainous. I really love elevation change. But I've done a lot of traveling since then, and yeah, that's kind of gets into our next question from my good friend David, aka Dard12. He asks, he asks a couple questions here. What are your top 3 to 5 places you want to visit? Why, and what's keeping you from going there? Okay. So, why is my nose itching? I would like to go to Australia. I'd like to go to New Zealand. Obviously, New Zealand's been in the news here recently. That's a tragedy, no matter how you're looking at it. Senseless murders are never good, in my opinion. But it's a beautiful New Zealand. From what I can tell, is a beautiful country, and I'd really love to visit there and travel around there. I mean, honestly, like Afghanistan and that kind of stuff, those areas, like geographically, are really incredibly beautiful and mountainous. And I don't know that will happen anytime soon, due to just the peace of the area for me. But yeah, I have a couple goals. I'd love to ride a motorcycle on there's a Trans-America Trail. It goes from Georgia to the state of Washington, and it's a dual sport trail, and you just ride your motorcycle and camp along the trail, and it's dirt and paved, so that's a dream. There's just a lot of places in the U.S. that I still haven't gotten to see, and I'd love to visit. So, but reason why I haven't is because I don't have a passport, so I got to go to the country one time on a cruise, went to Mexico. I was like 9 or 10, but other than that, I've never left the country, and that's a pretty poor excuse, honestly, not having a passport. So it's something that I've been wanting to work on, and I will now that I'm putting it out on the internet. Plus, I just got a new driver's license with my updated address. Top places you've been, David also asked. Top places I've been, I would say the peak of Mount Elbert, which is the second highest peak in the continental United States. Yeah, I hiked it. It's a 14er. I hiked it whenever I was living in Denver. You can see a picture of it, of me on the peak on the gram at dan.mabry. Check it out. But that's definitely one of maybe the top place that I've been. I'm trying to think, places that just like really stand out. I really enjoyed the weather and hospitality in San Diego. You know, I've trying to think where else. Where else top places? Hmm. I feel like I need to get out more. Oh, Utah. Yeah, I mean, I spent a week out in the high Utinous Mountains. I don't know. That's pretty poor of me. I should really learn the pronunciation of that since I went there. But um, yeah, that was a gorgeous place. I forget the specific lake that I went to, but it was wonderful. Especially the last day, get to wake up and hear elk bugling. That was pretty magical. That was kind of before I really took on my love for photography and videography again. So I'll have to get back out there. um, yeah, let's see what else is next. Zach Hobbs, the old Remy. Zach Hobbs asked, "What is your spirit animal?" Great question. Um, my spirit animal would probably, I don't know, it'd probably be a bird of some sort, just where I could go and travel wherever I wanted to. I've always been fond of dolphins. Love the water, play in the waves. And I guess if you're in the ocean, you can travel pretty much wherever you want to as well. So, dolphin? Thank you for that question, Zach. The next question, Rob Toss. Is your podcast going to be like the Howard Stern show after 15 guests? That's kind of a vague question there, Rob. But if it blows up like that, that would be pretty cool, I guess. But I guess I don't really plan on doing these solo podcasts all the time. Like I said, I did have some people lined up, and it just didn't work out. And maybe I'm forcing content. Maybe I don't know. I feel like this is the Dan Mabry project. I'll make it whatever I want, and I'm just kind of trying to figure myself out still. So whatever. Appreciate the question though, Rob. Makara, where do babies come from? Define love. Oh gosh. I would direct both of those questions to your boyfriend or yourself. What is your favorite cartoon character? Not like the biggest cartoon fan, but maybe Ninja Turtles. I don't like really watch Family Guy or South Park or any of that stuff. I think it's funny. I do find humor in it whenever I watch it, but I don't necessarily like. That's not what I'm picking on the Netflix or whatever. Hayden Williams, my boy. Where will the Dan Mabry project be in 10 years? Ooh, good question, Hayden. I don't know. Some people know this, some people might not, but I really have a desire to live out of a four-wheel drive Mercedes Sprinter van. And, being because it would give me access to a lot of places, and I would have a place to sleep. I wouldn't have to worry about finding a hotel or, a place to camp. Put my tent out and expose myself that way. It's a really good way to stealth camp, and I can still pull into a city and get away with it. I just feel like it's the ultimate travel machine, and that's the goal. So, you say, Dan, you're crazy. How are you going to live in a van? I don't know. I've never done it, but it's always something that's piqued my interest, and it's definitely a goal of mine. It's more of a 4 to 5 year goal, than a 10-year goal. But if I could do that and be able to travel around and find people and interview them or make movies along the process, that's really what the dream is. So let's see here, what else? Hunter Hall, H2. Congratulations on your getting placed in a residency, Hunter Hall. Gonna be a doctor. Why is there a D in fridge but no D in refrigerator? Excellent question. Don't have the answer because I am terrible at spelling, and Hunter knows that. So he has a history of asking me odd questions at wonderful times. Brenner Mabry, the old cuz, Chris. Do you wash your apples? I would say yes, I do wash my apples. There's a lot of ways that could be taken, but I'm going to take it literally, and I would say yes. I do take my crisp red apples and put them under the sink when possible. All right, let's see what else here. Blake Cheatwood. Blake was really trying to blow my mind here. Blake said, "Do you believe in aliens? You should read about the Fermi paradox if you don't." I did look this up on Wikipedia for a minute, and I got pretty damn confused. So I got out of it. But yes, Blake, I would say that there's a vast universe out there, and we don't know a quarter of it. So I'm going to say that aliens are most like, I'm going to say there's more of a chance that there is aliens than there isn't. And I just hope that they're peaceful and they're interested in us and they don't eat us. So, shouts out to the aliens if they're out there. Rachel Vizza. Was it nerve-wracking trying to start a podcast? I would say no, because I wanted to do it, and I was excited about it, and somehow when I get in front of this camera, I'm just able to put a little swagger on, and do it, and I be able to have fun with it, have fun doing it. So if you haven't realized, I have a new microphone. I have a new little recorder. I'm using a new lens. We're in a new place. Got all kinds of new stuff going on. So there, I'm keeping this rolling. I'm investing in it, and I just hope that it pays off. I think it will. Just gotta keep grinding it out. Sorry, I'm gonna get another sip of water. Rachel asks, how did you start picking your guest? Is it random, or are you looking for something? I am looking for, something that piques my interest, someone that grabs my attention, and has a story to tell that I see that I could pull out of them. I think everybody has a story to tell, but I don't necessarily know how to get it out of them. And that's something that I think that's the biggest challenge that I have is making people comfortable with me and what I'm trying to do here, and be able to speak in a way that they feel comfortable enough sharing. But it started off with my friends and people that I knew were interesting and I knew would be comfortable enough to talk to me. And now I'm starting to branch out a little bit, and it really started with my peers, and now I'm trying to get some older people, not necessarily old people, but not 20-somethings, some 30s and 40-year-old people. And anybody that, like I said, that's willing to be open and honest with me and have a good conversation and have something to bring to the table and try to, willing to teach me and my audience something new. So, I also challenged myself to do 52 of these, so which is, I guess, why I'm doing one right now. But, I guess I have had to become somewhat selective in some times, and that's something that I'm still learning as to how to do that and when to take a chance. So maybe someone that approaches me, I need to take a chance on them, and I think that happens every time that I line up a podcast and someone commits to sitting down and talking to me. Nobody knows what's going to happen. I think that's kind of the beauty of the whole thing. Yeah. Let's see here. She says, tell us about your life post-tech. Oh, man. My life post-tech. So I graduated from Louisiana Tech in 2015 and took a job in West Monroe, Louisiana, I was working for a JPS equipment rental as an inside salesperson, and had a great job there, and met a lot of cool people, had a lot of, developed a lot of good relationships, and very thankful for all those people that I worked with, and I honestly do miss working with them. But basically, I worked there for a year, and I got greedy, and really wanted a raise or some kind of more responsibility or something like that. And there's a lot of other stuff going on that I wasn't aware of, and they weren't worried about me, and that's totally respectable. But they cared about me enough to help me get a job in Denver, and that always will speak volumes to me for those people that helped me. Joey and Steven and Luke and Adam and Josh and Paul and Shane and any of those guys that are listening, or if they ever listen to this, they'll know who I'm talking about. And got a lot of love and respect for those people. And all the people in the mechanic too, Boo and Booger and Chris and Ronnie and everybody that ever helped me out over there. Very appreciative of those people. But yeah, I got a job in Denver, Colorado, and was selling industrial forklift batteries. That's about as sexy as it sounds. The market was not necessarily exploding for electric forklift batteries. So, struggled with that. Struggled to get going and get some sales going. I was an outside salesperson, so I had a company vehicle, and I was making commission off of my sales, and along with a little bit of salary that I had. And I was living a mile from downtown Denver, and got to ride my bike pretty much anywhere and everywhere that I wanted to go. I literally had a grocery store that was a block away from my apartment. I was set up. The worst thing about my living situation is that I had to climb 3 flights of stairs every day, but kept me fit and strong in the Mile High City. And I was loving life for 4.5 months. And, if you followed me on Instagram, I was climbing mountains and going to Red Rocks and going to shows and having a wonderful time. And didn't necessarily make a lot of friends. Had a couple friends there. Shouts out to Tucker and Fran and Rebecca and Shane. And, like I said, I lost the job. Basically, they told me that they were getting rid of my position and offered me another position. It was a sort of an inside sales position, and I was angry at the time and confused and didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I knew I didn't necessarily want to sell forklift batteries. but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I told him that I didn't want to take the job. So I went back to my apartment and got depressed, and I still hiked around a little bit and searched for jobs and applied to jobs that I wanted and didn't ever get any response, and didn't necessarily, looking back on it, I guess I didn't want it bad enough because I didn't really go out there and grind for it, and kind of gave up a month later. So I was there for about 5.5 months. Man, really got the cotton mouth right now. 30 minutes in. Okay. And yeah, packed up my stuff and moved back into my parents' house, and went to work for the Mabry Company, doing road construction, learning how to run a crew, and had some good people along the way help me out here, we've had a lot of people turn over, but I got, no hard feelings for anybody that's ever worked for me or worked with me. But yeah, bought a house almost a year ago now. After about 6 or 7 months in mom and dad's house for the third time in my life, I'd had enough. So I bought a house and picked up 2 roommates and been rocking and rolling ever since. And started making some movies along the way and ended up here at the podcast. So yeah, I have to say, if you made it this far, I love you very much, and I can't believe it that you would listen to me ramble for this long. If you could do me a huge favor, and regardless of how you're listening to this or watching this, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I don't make any money off of this podcast. This is an ad-free podcast. This is all the equipment and everything, and I've put into myself, and this is a way for you to help me get paid without paying me, without contributing to the Patreon page. Buying me a cup of coffee, if you will, which you totally can in the link below. But if you subscribe and I get to 1,000 subscribers, then I can become monetized by YouTube, and therefore I can make money through YouTube, and that would be super cool. That would be a huge step along the way, and it would mean a lot to me if you could just smash that subscribe button, even if you're not watching on the YouTube. So if you've paid attention this long, you clearly have some desire, some love for me. So if you could show it in that way, it would really, really mean the world to me. So next week, do have a guest. It's going to be a girl, a badass woman, as has been requested. Someone told me that I need more badass women, so we're working on that. And that's something that I want to happen. It's something that I wanted to happen to begin with, and I started to realize that there was a bunch of dudes, and there needed to be some more women in the mix. So we're making it happen. Yeah, got nothing but love for everyone that's helped me out along the way and is paying attention now. So that's it. That's all I got. See you next week. Follow me on Instagram, Dan.Mabry, Twitter, Dan_Mabry. Slide in the DMs if you ain't scared. Peace.